What do you need a plan B for? You're on broad. I mean, your
Well,
career is like,
it's funny. It's the shit that happens to you in a career.
yeah,
A lot of it is just making yourself available. I remember
right.
reading an interview with Steve Martin in Rolling Stone, and the quote that has always stuck with me was he had said, when the bus shows up, make sure your bags are packed.
Right.
And as long as your bags are packed, then it's just like you got to kind of open yourself up to the universe and say, whatever, I'm game,
Yeah.
and be willing to do whatever,
Right.
And I kind of fell into doing Broadway kind of in a really strange backwards way. I mean, I was always under the impression that the people who were on Broadway were so much different than me. They were so
Hmm.
much better than me. There was like this, I could never be on Broadway. I wasn't I didn't go to, acting school. I took acting class, but I didn't go to, like
Juilliard.
Juilliard or anything like that.
Right.
Um, I was in Vegas. I was doing the Sands. I was one of the last acts at the Sands before they blew it up.
Wow.
I was
Yeah.
on the very same stage as the Rat Pack had been.
Yeah.
They put me up in this shag carpet suite in the bungalows in the back, which apparently had been JFK's suite.
Oh
So
my God.
every night I
Wow.
kept looking to see if there was any, Marilyn Monroe's bras or anything laying around.
Yeah.
And
The fucking DNA on that rug alone, man.
oh, please. It was the kind of rug that you definitely had to wear socks before you walked on it, and
And then burn the socks afterward.
absolutely, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there was a guy, it was a theater producer who had produced Damn Yankees on Broadway with Jerry Lewis, and owned a couple of off-Broadway theaters. And he came to see the show. I don't know. I think he had heard me on IMUS, and he called my manager Gary and said, we'd like to put Rob in a theater. And so, originally it was going to be an off-Broadway theater because he owned, I think the Orpheum he owned at the time. It's where Stomp used to be in the city. And
wow.
he was going to his quote was, we're going to just put the spotlight on the fat guy. And so Gary and I were talking, and Gary said, it'd be really great if you did something that was a little bit more developed than just your act.
Mhm.
So I sat down and I wrote this framework around my act. I was very, very influenced by Jonathan Winters. Jonathan Winters was one of my heroes, the funniest people on the planet, and
Mhm.
he had
Did
this
you ever
thing.
get
I
to
think it
meet
was
him?
on. No, unfortunately, but he used to do this thing. He had a show where they had an attic, and they just put all this shit in an attic, like shit that you would find in an attic. And he would just
Mhm.
walk around and pick up stuff, and then do 5 minutes with whatever he picked up. So I thought,
Wow.
well, that would be a good. So it was a garage because it was Long Island, and I wrote this thin framework of a story about this box that I was avoiding. I was cleaning out the garage, and the box was sent by apparently somebody who was in the same trailer park that my estranged father lived in, and so they sent it to me because I was his. I hadn't seen him in 30 years, and it was a little maudlin. It was a little too sentimental, and
Love it.
and I just, I did my act based on all this stuff, and we did it up in Connecticut at the Rich Forum Theater. It was called Have a Nice Life, and it got mixed reviews. One negative, and one this kind of sucks, and then a Broadway theater opened up. And they decided, well, we're going to stick him on Broadway. And so I woodshedded that summer with another director, Jack O'Brien, who directed Hairspray and directed Addams Family and directed Willy Wonka and directed all these. Maybe he didn't do Addams Family, but he did Willy Wonka and the Full Monty. Well respected Broadway director. And we kind of worked together and woodshedded this thing. And we adapted it. It was a lot better than the version we had done in Connecticut.
Okay.
Dana Reeve, Christopher Reeve's wife, to play my wife, and Joyce Van Patten to play my agent. Those are the other two characters in the show. And we opened at the Eugene O'Neill Theater in October of 1998. And the pull quote from the Times was, "Avert your eyes."
Wow.
It's not something that you put up on the marquee to sell tickets,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I think one of the reviews said something. It's a colossal waste of time, and said, "So why don't we just put colossal exclamation point in your post?" We had 16 previews, 4 performances. We opened on a Friday and we closed on a Sunday. and or Saturday. I think we closed. We opened
No.
Thursday. We opened Thursday. We closed on Saturday after the second show.
Oh shit!
And
wow, fuck
and
them.
I went into a tailspin because I didn't book any work for like a year, thinking I was going to be working.
Right,
and,
of course.
It took a while to kind of get back into the swing of things, but then I did this thing they do. It's called City Center Encores. What they do is these guys put together these shows, these Broadway musicals that have never been revived, and usually for good reason. But sometimes they pick something that's really decent. Chicago actually came out of that because Chicago had never been redone because the original Chicago apparently was not a great success, even though it was Gwen Verdon and Cheetah Rivera. They were up against like a chorus line, and so everything was a chorus line. You couldn't do a chorus line. So there was a show called Golden Boy, which had been a musical with Sammy Davis Jr. back in the 50s, I think, or 50s. And this casting agent, Jay Binder, who knew me from Imus and who used to send me out on commercial auditions and was a huge fan, he said to Walter Bobby, "You should take a look at Rob Bartlett." And so I went, and I had no audition materials. I sang "Till There Was You" because that was my wedding song. And I got a call. I got this small part as one of the boxers' managers, Roxy. And you get cast on a Monday. You go into rehearsal on Tuesday, and then you open the Thursday following week, and you do 4 performances.
Okay.
So it's like being shot out of a cannon. You do a full musical. You still have your script and everything, because technically there's some equity thing that you can't do a full blown. But since then they've been doing full blown productions. And Walter Bobby was the guy who directed Golden Boy. And so after that, I had done another casting agent, Jerry Beaver, thought I was perfect for this off-Broadway show called Tabletop. And Tabletop was this, I think it was 100-minute real-time slice of life from a commercial shoot. But it was the product shots of the commercial. It wasn't the actors. It was, the beer pouring into the glass, or the pizza being pulled with the cheese. But this was for some kind of a fruit freeze drink, and there was a pile of fruit and a freeze thing. And I played this tyrannical director who needed to get this shot because the competition was starting to steal my thunder and starting to steal my clients. And I came in on a Saturday because we couldn't get the shot. And so the whole thing is like boom, 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 boom. And we opened off Broadway, and it took a lot of convincing the director to get me to play the part. But the guy who wrote the play said that I was so much like the guy it was based on, because he had worked as a prop guy on one of his commercial shoots. That he won, and I got to do it, and won a fucking Drama Desk award to play this cocksucker of a TV director, commercial director. Yeah. And then again, the way shit happens, I'm having lunch with Joyce Van Patten. And we're in the there's a cafe above the Fairway in Manhattan. We're sitting, I'm having a burger and fries, and Walter Bobby is sitting in the corner. Wow. And Joyce waves, and he waves her. She'd worked with him, waves us over. He remembered me. We sat down, we started chatting. We had lunch with Walter Bobby. The following week, my manager Gary gets this call. Walter would like Rob to come in and audition for Amos Hart in Chicago.
Holy shit.
And, I'd seen Chicago, and Amos is like, Mr. Cellophane.
Yeah.
Is the single greatest character part in Broadway history. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's just, you have 3 scenes in the first act, 3 scenes in the second act. You have the show stealing number in the second act. It's the greatest part ever. And so I go in for a Wednesday matinee. And he said, have Rob get in touch with Bob Billig, who's the musical director. The band is on stage for this production. And that had been, that's how they used to do the shows at City Center Encores, was the band is on stage. So it's because it's supposed to be an in-concert kind of thing. But that whole minimalistic production kind of got to be the hallmark of why it won so many Tonys, because it was just, fucking brilliant.
Right.
And so I see the matinee. And I don't really know what to do, and the crowd leaves, and I'm sitting in the audience, and the curtain goes up, and Bob Billig is the musical director, the guy who conducted the shows. Goes, Rob? I said, yes. I said, come on up. So I go up on stage, and he sits at the piano, and he says, do you know Cellophane? I said, yeah. And he said, let's go. And I sang Cellophane. he thanked me. I got back in the car and started to drive home. And I was about to get on the Triborough Bridge, and I got a phone call from Gary. And he said, "You're going to Broadway, kid."
Oh my
And
God.
that was it. I mean, I was in that show for a year and a half, and then back and forth a few times. And then I got Mushnick in Little Shop, the original Broadway production of Little Shop.
Yeah.
And that led to The Odd Couple with Nathan and Matthew, and that led to Sweet Charity with Christina Applegate.
Dystopia tonight.